The New York Rangers are making moves as they put one of their most prominent playoff performers on waivers in hopes of freeing up salary cap space to make a huge splash in free agency this year. We're going to break all of that down, but before we do, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 80% of you watching our videos are not actually subscribed to the channel, so if you want to do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. It's been a great journey so far, and like I said, do yourself a favor. The draft is coming up, free agency is coming up, and we're going to have it all here on the channel. It's going to be very exciting, but without further ado, let's get into the report. Huge report coming out yesterday about Barclay Goodrow, of course, who we're talking about today, and we'll get right into it from Frank Saravalli, who I believe had it first, and some beat reporters in New York did have it as well. But with some interesting insight here from Saravalli, buyout candidate Barclay Goodrow was placed on waivers today. The Rangers are hoping to gauge the market on him. If someone claims him, his full contract comes off the books. If not, they will have to examine other options, including a buyout with a unique cap credit for only, which I thought was pretty interesting, next season. And some from Molly Walker, who's been great covering the Rangers as well. They waived Barclay Goodrow as a cap saving measure. This is all this is really, and either way, unclaimed or claimed, the club will get necessary cap space back in return for that. So pretty interesting move here, freeing up salary cap space. I mean, the temperature in the fan base is, I saw a lot of people saying that they weren't happy with this move. This is the only playoff performer that they have, which is not entirely true, but I can understand the sentiment. But very interesting move at the end of the day to clear that cap space. And it seems like there might be a deal in place, whatever that may look like, with the San Jose Sharks to acquire the contract, right? And again, from Vince, this is some pretty interesting insight as well. If another team claims Goodrow, the New York Rangers would save the full 3.642, I don't know why there's so many numbers in there, salary cap hit. If they end up buying him out, savings would actually be more for next season. So they would save 3.8, but it would come with a lingering penalty for the next 5 seasons after that. So yes, for next year, of course, they're in the cup window still, and you would want that. So again, at the end of the day, for next season, this is a good move either way, but you're going to be paying the price if nobody claims him off waivers for the next 5 seasons. So like I mentioned, there is a lot of savings for the Rangers, of course, with the 2 different options here, or just buying out, right? Obviously, somebody claiming him off waivers would be best case scenario, and I think we might have gotten our answer yesterday with from Phil saying there is some belief that there is a pre-arranged deal with the San Jose Sharks to claim Goodrow off waivers. And of course, Goodrow spent the first 6 seasons of his NHL career there in San Jose and won that crazy series in 2019 for them. He's won some Stanley Cups, of course, Tampa Bay Lightning. So lots of playoff experience, and I thought this was a great point as well, if you really think about it. And I mentioned this with Jacob Trouba last week. If Jacob Trouba were to be moved, maybe it would be to the San Jose Sharks because they have a lot of room to take on salary like that, and they would be interested in somebody who has a lot of experience, right? Because they're going to have a lot of young players and they're not really a great team. So I thought this was a great point. If we really think about it, the Sharks claiming Goodrow is good for everyone. Obviously, the Rangers save all of the cap for the next 5 seasons. The Rangers, not that the contract went that long, but at least for the buyout, right? The Rangers would clear the $3.6 million in cap space. San Jose would get a 2-time cup winner in Goodrow who could help mentor, obviously, their first overall pick this season, this draft, and Will Smith, who they picked just a couple drafts ago. So it's a win for everyone. And I kind of see it that way too. Obviously, the Rangers would save some cap, and the Sharks could use some guidance, some mentorship, some leadership as well, right? So I could see, not to make the video about Jacob Trouba, but I could see a situation where that makes sense for both parties. So very interesting here with Barclay Goodrow, and we'll take a look at his stats here now too. Nothing, and we've talked about it, a couple weeks ago when they were still in the playoffs. Not a guy who's a great performer in the regular season by any stretch, okay? He played almost every single game this season. He only missed 2 games, and he only had 12 points on the regular season. He's on the wrong side of 30 for my liking, especially with a contract that goes until about 2027. If nothing happens here, and you have to buy him out. So again, not a great performer in the regular season, third line, fourth line guy. But when it comes to the playoffs, he did come up big in a couple situations for the New York Rangers. We saw, right, with a couple goals against the Florida Panthers when they really needed it. When the top guys kind of went away for a little bit, he did step up. So in that way, he's a great playoff performer. And I think the Rangers need more of that. But they could really utilize this cap space now to, go acquire somebody in free agency if they move off of somebody else as well, right? So I think they're trying to do something with their cap space here, and Chris Drury is trying to get creative, which if you're a fan, I don't think you can be mad at that. He's trying to make the team better, right? And why not move off of a player like Goodrow now before it is too late, right? Where nobody would claim him, and you're kind of stuck with that anchoring contract. So pretty interesting here. And if you take a look of some more in-depth about the cap credit and whatnot, obviously, teams would rather wait for the Rangers to buy him out and then re-sign him, but that would really leave the Rangers in a bad situation there. So if Goodrow clears waivers, the Rangers could buy him out in between the 48 hours after the Stanley Cup final ends and on June 30th. A Goodrow buyout would give the Rangers a cap credit of $247,000 in the first year, but then would become a dead cap charge of $1 million for the next season before they're dinged with a $3.5 million cap hit in 26-27, which you're still going to be in a cap window. So best case scenario, he is claimed off waivers by the San Jose Sharks. Obviously, that would be the best. And then if this were to happen, this is from Molly Walker as well. I should give credit here for the article. This is great information. This would leave the Rangers with roughly $15.5 million in cap space entering free agency on July 1st. That is huge. That is much different than the $10 million that I projected in just a couple videos ago. So what you could do with, $15 million in free agency is huge for the New York Rangers, right? I think it makes a huge difference. You obviously need to re-sign Lindgren and Schneider still. I don't think, like we talked about in a previous video, they're going to take up that much cap space. Of course, there's no way. You would have to move off of them if they do. So it should be pretty interesting. I think this frees up a lot of options for the New York Rangers in free agency. I've been vocal about how I think that the team should be pretty aggressive in free agency this year to try and get over the hump. Goodrow, yes, good playoff performer, but at the end of the day, doesn't really help your team in the regular season. His contract is not necessarily an anchor, but you can definitely use almost $4 million to acquire somebody else who will help the team, who is younger. So pretty interesting. Let me know in the comments what you think of this buyout, and hopefully by the time this goes up, he is claimed off waivers by the San Jose Sharks. That would be the best case scenario for the New York Rangers, of course, but at the end of the day, it does really help them next season, at least if they, have to keep him in that way, right? Of course, if he's not claimed off waivers. So pretty interesting stuff. Let me know what you think in the comments. And of course, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers. Let me know what you think in the comments. Pretty interesting. Barclay Goodrow, I think he's a good player, but could be time to move off of him, and San Jose could help in that way.